Imagine a creature straight from a prehistoric world. It moves with a slow, deliberate swagger, its forked tongue tasting the air for the scent of its next meal. This is the Komodo dragon, the largest lizard on Earth and a true apex predator. It doesn't need overwhelming speed or the crushing power of a constrictor. Its strategy is far more patient, more sinister. The hunt begins not with a chase, but with a single calculated moment of violence. A swift bite is all it takes to set in motion a chain of events that will inevitably lead to the downfall of prey many times its own size. This initial attack is the key to everything. The dragon lies in ambush, often along well-worn game trails. Its gray, scaly skin provides excellent camouflage against the dusty earth and dry grasses of its island home. When a target like a deer or a wild pig wanders close, the lizard explodes into action. It lunges forward, its powerful legs propelling its heavy body with surprising speed over a short distance. The goal is not to wrestle the animal to the ground immediately. Instead, the dragon aims for a leg or the underbelly, using its mouth full of serrated teeth to inflict a deep, tearing wound. The encounter is brief, almost anticlimactic, and then the prey bolts, seemingly having escaped the immediate danger. But the dragon knows the hunt has only just begun. The real weapon is not the physical power of the bite itself, but what is delivered within it. For a long time, we believed the dragon's mouth was just a dirty cocktail of deadly bacteria. The idea was that these germs would flood into the wound, causing a massive infection that would slowly weaken and kill the animal. But as we've studied these incredible reptiles more closely, a new and even more fascinating theory has emerged. It suggests that the Komodo dragon possesses a far more sophisticated weapon, one developed over millions of years of evolution, a complex venom. This possibility has changed our entire understanding of how this ancient predator secures its place at the top of the food chain. This opening strike is a masterpiece of efficiency. The dragon expends minimal energy for maximum effect. It doesn't engage in a prolonged, dangerous struggle where it could get injured by the desperate thrashing of a large animal, like a water buffalo. Instead, it makes its mark and then retreats, letting its deadly saliva do the hard work. The prey runs off, but it carries its own demise within its veins. The dragon will now begin the next phase of its hunt, a patient pursuit where it follows the scent of its dying victim, sometimes for days, waiting for the inevitable moment when the great beast can no longer stand. To find the Komodo dragon, you must travel to a remote corner of the world. These magnificent lizards are native to only a handful of small islands in the Lesser Sunda archipelago of Indonesia. The main islands where they roam free are Komodo, Rinca, Flores, and Gili Motang. This isolated habitat is a crucial part of what makes them so unique. For millions of years, they have been the undisputed rulers of these islands, with no other large carnivorous competitors to challenge their dominance. This has allowed them to evolve into the giants we see today, a perfect example of a phenomenon known as island gigantism. The environment here is harsh and unforgiving. It's a landscape of rugged volcanic hills, dry savanna, and pockets of tropical forest. The climate is intensely hot and dry for much of the year, followed by a heavy monsoon season. The dragons are perfectly adapted to these tough conditions. They are most active during the day, using the heat of the sun to warm their cold-blooded bodies. To escape the midday heat, they will often dig or find burrows where they can rest in the cooler earth. Their survival is intricately linked to the health of this fragile ecosystem and the populations of the animals they prey upon, from small rodents to the mighty water buffalo. Living in such a confined area has shaped every aspect of the Komodo dragon's life. Their entire world is contained within these few hundred square miles of land. This isolation means the gene pool is limited, making the species vulnerable to disease and environmental changes. Conservation efforts are therefore incredibly important to protect not just the dragons themselves, but the entire island ecosystem they inhabit. National parks, like the famous Komodo National Park, were established to safeguard these last remaining strongholds, ensuring that the dragons and their prehistoric kingdom can survive for generations to come. The limited territory also dictates their behavior. While they are solitary hunters, they are not entirely antisocial creatures. They often cross paths with one another, especially around a large kill, where complex hierarchies determine who gets to eat first. Younger, smaller dragons are incredibly vulnerable and spend the first few years of their lives living in trees to avoid being cannibalized by the larger adults. This brutal reality of their island life has forged a species that is tough, resilient, and perfectly in tune with its ancient, isolated home. It is a land that time seems to have forgotten, and the Komodo dragon is its undisputed king. The Komodo dragon is a true heavyweight champion of the lizard world. An adult male can grow up to 10 feet long and weigh over 150 pounds, making it the largest and heaviest lizard on the planet. Its body is a testament to millions of years of evolution as an apex predator. It is covered in tough, bony scales known as osteoderms, which act like a suit of natural chainmail, offering protection from the bites of other dragons during territorial disputes. Its powerful legs and sharp claws are not just for walking. They are used for digging burrows and for gripping and tearing apart a carcass during feeding. The dragon's head is its most formidable feature. It has a wide, powerful jaw that can open incredibly wide, allowing it to swallow huge chunks of meat. Inside that jaw are around 60 razor-sharp teeth, which are frequently replaced throughout the dragon's life. These teeth are not designed for chewing, but for slicing. They are flattened and serrated, much like the teeth of a shark, perfect for tearing flesh and creating deep, gaping wounds. This dental design is crucial to its hunting strategy, as it ensures that even a glancing bite will cause significant blood loss and tissue damage, setting the stage for the next part of the hunt. One of the dragon's most important sensory tools is its long, yellow, forked tongue. It constantly flicks its tongue in and out, picking up scent particles from the air. It then places the tips of the fork onto a special sensory organ on the roof of its mouth called the Jacobson's organ. This gives the dragon a directional sense of smell, allowing it to detect a decaying carcass from several miles away. This incredible ability is essential not only for finding food but also for tracking a wounded animal over long distances, following the faint scent of blood across the rugged island terrain. It is a biological GPS system honed for finding its next meal. The dragon's overall build is one of low-slung, powerful efficiency. Its tail is as long as its body and is packed with muscle, serving as a powerful weapon that can be used to knock a deer off its feet. While they are not built for long-distance running, they can achieve surprising bursts of speed, up to 12 miles per hour, when ambushing prey. Every part of the Komodo dragon, from the tip of its nose to the end of its tail, has been shaped by the demands of its role as the top predator. It is a living, breathing killing machine, perfectly designed for its environment. The hunt is far from over after the initial bite. In fact, the most critical phase is just beginning. After delivering its debilitating wound, the Komodo dragon simply backs off and waits. It doesn't need to engage in a dangerous, prolonged fight. The venom and trauma from the bite will do the work. The wounded animal, whether it's a deer, a pig, or a massive water buffalo, stumbles away in a panic. It might feel a surge of adrenaline, a false sense of escape, but the clock is already ticking. The dragon, using its incredible sense of smell, begins to track its victim patiently, sometimes from a considerable distance. The effects of the dragon's attack begin to take hold relatively quickly. If the new theories are correct, the venom coursing through the victim's bloodstream starts to have a devastating impact. The cocktail of toxins is believed to do several things at once. It acts as an anticoagulant, preventing the blood from clotting, which means the wound continues to bleed freely. This leads to a rapid drop in blood pressure. The venom also induces a state of shock and paralysis, causing the animal to become progressively weaker and disoriented. The prey that seemed to have escaped is now growing tired, confused, and unable to keep moving. This period of waiting can last for hours or even days, depending on the size of the prey and the severity of the bite. The dragon is relentless in its pursuit. It follows the scent trail, conserving its energy, knowing that its meal is getting closer with every passing hour. This strategy is incredibly effective for tackling animals much larger than itself, like the water buffalo, which can weigh over 1,000 pounds. A direct physical confrontation would be suicidal for the dragon, but this method of attrition warfare allows it to bring down a giant with minimal risk to itself. It is a battle of endurance, and the dragon always has the upper hand. Eventually, the wounded animal succumbs. The massive blood loss, the shock, and the effects of the venom become too much. The creature collapses, too weak to move or defend itself. This is the moment the dragon has been waiting for. It closes in on its now helpless prey to deliver the final killing bite, or simply begins to feed. This patient, calculated hunting style is what makes the Komodo dragon such a uniquely successful predator. It is a chillingly effective strategy that combines a powerful initial attack with a war of biological warfare, turning a single bite into a certain death sentence. When a Komodo dragon finally begins to eat, it is a spectacle of primal efficiency. These lizards have an incredible metabolism and can consume a staggering amount of food in one sitting. An adult dragon is capable of eating up to 80% of its own body weight in a single meal. This is like an average human eating over 120 pounds of steak for dinner. This ability to gorge is a crucial survival adaptation for a predator that might go for weeks or even a month between large kills. They must take full advantage of every opportunity to eat, storing the energy to sustain them through lean times. The dragon's anatomy is perfectly suited for this task. It has a flexible skull with loosely articulated jaws, much like a snake, which allows it to swallow enormous pieces of its prey. It will tear off huge chunks of meat and swallow them whole, using its powerful neck muscles to force the food down its throat. They are not picky eaters, and will consume almost the entire carcass, including bones, hooves, and hide. Their digestive systems are incredibly robust, capable of breaking down these tough materials. The only parts they typically leave behind are the stomach and intestines, which they will shake vigorously to empty before discarding. The feeding frenzy around a large kill, such as a water buffalo, can attract multiple dragons from across the local area. When this happens, a clear social hierarchy is established. The largest and most dominant males get to eat first, gorging themselves on the best parts of the carcass. Smaller males and females have to wait their turn, often risking injury if they try to challenge a larger dragon. The smallest juvenile dragons stay on the periphery or in nearby trees, hoping to scavenge a few scraps once the larger adults have had their fill. This competitive environment is another reason why cannibalism is so common among them. Interestingly, their diet is incredibly varied. While they are famous for taking down large prey like deer and water buffalo, they are also opportunistic and will eat almost anything they can find. This includes smaller animals like rodents, birds, and snakes. They are also notorious scavengers, using their keen sense of smell to locate carrion from miles away. They will even eat the eggs of other Komodo dragons. This flexible and all-encompassing diet is another key to their long-term survival, allowing them to thrive in an environment where large prey might not always be available. They are the ultimate survivors, wasting nothing and eating everything. For decades, the scientific community had a widely accepted explanation for the Komodo dragon's deadly bite. The theory was that the dragon's mouth was a breeding ground for a septic stew of virulent bacteria. The idea was that when a dragon bit its prey, it would introduce dozens of strains of deadly pathogens into the wound. This would quickly lead to a massive infection, or sepsis, which would overwhelm the animal's immune system and ultimately cause its death. This bacteria as a weapon theory was compelling and seemed to make sense, given the dragon's scavenging habits and the observable effects on their victims. However, in the early 2000s, this long-held belief began to be challenged. Researchers started to question the bacteria theory. They pointed out that the mouths of most predators contain a wide range of bacteria, and there was little evidence to suggest that the bacteria in a Komodo's mouth were uniquely deadly. Furthermore, the speed at which prey animals weakened and collapsed seemed too fast to be caused by infection alone, which typically takes several days to become fatal. This skepticism led a team of scientists, led by biochemist Brian Fry, to look for an alternative explanation for the dragon's lethal efficiency. This new line of inquiry led to a groundbreaking discovery. Using modern techniques like MRI scans and saliva analysis, Fry and his team found that Komodo dragons possess complex venom glands in their lower jaw. When they analyzed the saliva, they identified a powerful cocktail of toxic proteins. This venom was found to contain components that cause a rapid drop in blood pressure, prevent blood clotting, and induce a state of shock. This evidence provided a much more direct and rapid mechanism for killing prey, aligning perfectly with observations of hunted animals quickly becoming weak and incapacitated. This discovery has completely reshaped our understanding, but the debate is not entirely settled. Science is a process of constant questioning and reevaluation. Some scientists still argue that while the venom exists, the severe tissue damage from the bite and subsequent infection from bacteria still play a significant role. They suggest it might be a combination of all three factors: the traumatic wound, the venom and the bacteria, that creates such a deadly outcome? This ongoing discussion shows that even with new discoveries, there is always more to learn. The truth may lie somewhere in the middle, but the revelation of venom has forever changed the story of the Komodo dragon, proving that science is always evolving.